In this year of all years, the Australian spirit has really come to the fore. This year has provided an opportunity for Australians to gather and reflect on a difficult year, pay respect to the sacrifice of thousands of first responders and frontline workers who have put their safety and well-being of others before their own, and to celebrate our collective effort to protect our communities and help each other during the COVID-19 pandemic. And let's take a moment to acknowledge them and their work for us. Through natural disasters, coronavirus lockdowns, our nation's heroes have inspired awe with their selfless acts. And it's times like this when inspiration is needed the most, and you have all inspired us, our nominees here today, in different ways. You remind us that resilience is part of Australia's DNA, and the Australian of the Year Awards program is committed to showcasing these extraordinary members of our community. The 2022 Australian of the Year nominees are people who inspire courage, sacrifice, and kindness, and we look forward to celebrating your stories today. So, to those of you who are in the room with us today, welcome. And we're glad that you're here with us in person to celebrate these incredible Australians, all of you, while staying COVID safe and, of course, complying with social distancing regulations. Please make sure you've checked in and we'll stick with the elbows. We've got COVID protocols for the handing out of our awards today. To those of you watching online, hello from Hobart. It's great to have you here, and we hope you enjoy the ceremony today. This afternoon, you're joining us in recognising our heroes, and you can post on social media at any time, so your phone can be on silent, but feel free to snap and post away. Our hashtags are hashtag Oz of the Year, that's AUS of the Year, and please get it out there across Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. The hashtag is AUS Oz of the Year. I'd like to invite now Auntie Brenda Hodge to the stage to welcome us to country. Auntie Brenda.
Thank you, Rick. Ya Pulinanya Miladina Mana Mapali Tu. Welcome to all of you here on our land. I'm a proud descendant of Manalagana and the Parabeni people from Tipukana in northeastern Tasmania. I show respect to my elders, past, present and emerging, and to the many Aboriginal people who did not make elder status. I respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land on which we gather today, the Muwinina people, who belong to the oldest continuing culture in the world and who roamed this land for more than 60,000 years. Nipaluna Hobart was their country, and they called our mountain Kunani. It is a privilege to stand on their country. Muwinina Laikara Miladina Kipli Mulaka. It was here that the Muwinina hunted for food. Miladinata Nayapi Naramapali. Miladinata Krakapaka Naramapali. They gave birth on country, they died on country. Lumi Ningimpi Manamapali, Nangampi Manamapali. Lurina Warranta Mayapaya Winina Naramapali. Our ancestors are still here. We feel them all around us. Warranta Ninina Naramapali Paywuta Niakara. They give us our dreaming. Warranta Takara Miladina Nika Mapali Takara. We walk where they once walked. Miladina Nika, this is our country. Miladina Mana, this country is us. Warranta Palawa Miladina Nika, we are this country. With pride and on behalf of our ancestors, I welcome each of you to Aboriginal land, Nipaluna, Hobart, Lutruwita, Tasmania. My sincere congratulations to all nominees in each category, and I wish you every success for the future. Nairi Ninatu. Thank you.
Ngāre Nena to Auntie Brenda, and thank you as well for your warm welcome to country here in Nipaluna. I'd invite you to stand now, please, if you're able, as the Tasmanian Army Band perform the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can clap them again. They love that. They work hard. They got on and off very swiftly and discreetly. That's the Tasmanian Army Band, the national anthem, and I'm very jealous of the Governor being able to travel with her own band, but if anyone would like to form a band and travel with me, you're more than welcome to. If you're new to the Australian of the Year Awards, tonight we're celebrating Australians across 4 categories: Australia's Local Hero, Young Australian of the Year, Senior Australian of the Year, and Australian of the Year, or as we like to call it, Tasmanian Australian of the Year. Importantly, the 16 nominees you're about to meet inspired someone else and were nominated, sometimes anonymously, for their inspiration, contribution, and excellence. They're people who have consistently demonstrated courage, resilience, and selflessness. The people who roll up their sleeves and help the community. People whose determination and sacrifice not only save lives, but help enrich them. Pioneers who started a revolution because they could no longer sit by and watch, or people who kept going against adversity to encourage and support others. Our nominations process is open to the public 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and anyone can nominate anybody who inspires them. We received thousands of nominations this year, reflecting the enormous challenges we face together and how many people have risen up out of our community and been noticed and been acknowledged. From these nominations, our Tasmanian panel selected 16 incredible people that we're celebrating this afternoon, and they're all in your booklet there, which makes amazing reading. One recipient will be announced in each category, and these 4 then go on to join the other state and territory representatives at the National Awards on the eve of Australia Day, announced by the Prime Minister and broadcast live on ABC TV and iView, so make sure you tune in then, and covered, of course, thoroughly by local radio as well. And it's an amazing experience, I've heard from previous recipients, to have that trip to Canberra. Whatever the outcome this evening or afternoon, our nominees richly deserve to be here. So let's congratulate them for reaching this important stage of Australia's most prestigious awards program. Join me in congratulating them now. I would like to welcome our official guests here today. The Australian of the Year Awards is co-hosted by Her Excellency, the Honourable Barbara Baker, AC, and the Honourable Peter Gutwin, Premier of Tasmania. Today's other official guests are Professor Don Chalmers, the Honourable Elise Archer MP representing the Premier today, Minister Roger Jentzsch from the Tasmanian Liberal Party, Dr Rosalie Woodruff representing the Tasmanian Greens Party, and unfortunately Premier Gutwin is unable to be with us today, but he has sent this video clip to share some words with you nominees and us this afternoon.
Hello everyone. Each year our nation celebrates the achievement and contribution of outstanding Australians through the Australian of the Year Awards by profiling leading citizens who are role models for us all. They inspire us through their achievements and challenge us to make our own contribution to help create a better Australia. The Australian of the Year Awards recognise people in our community who give selflessly of themselves and whose contributions ignite discussion and change on issues of national importance. The awards provide all Australians with the opportunity to recognise someone they consider worthy of acknowledgement in 4 categories: the Australian of the Year, the Senior Australian of the Year, the Young Australian of the Year and Australia's Local Hero. Being nominated for an Australian of the Year award is a great honour. The awards give the community an opportunity to recognise and reward someone who makes them proud to be an Australian. This year's finalists have been shortlisted by the panel for their significant contribution to the Australian community, their positioning as an inspirational role model and their demonstrated excellence in their respective fields. I'd like to congratulate the 16 Tasmanian nominees across the 4 categories who are being recognised today. I thank each of you for the work you do in your community. As we hear their stories this afternoon, you'll get to know how each nominee has been an inspiration, how they have positively influenced the lives of others and made a massive impact on the well-being of our state. Each one of the nominees are deserving of this prestigious recognition. Thank you to all of you for the contributions you are making to your community, to making Tasmania a better place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier. I just hear the voice and I get nervous there's another lockdown coming, but no, apparently not. Whew! I'd like to now invite Her Excellency, the Honourable Barbara Baker, Governor of Tasmania, to share some words with us. Please give her a very warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Rick. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be co-hosting with the Premier the Tasmanian Australian of the Year Awards for 2022 in my first year as Governor. I pay my respects to the traditional and original owners of this land, the Palawa people. I acknowledge the contemporary Tasmanian Aboriginal community. I recognise a history of truth which acknowledges the impacts of colonisation upon our First People. I stand for a future that respects and acknowledges Aboriginal stories, culture, language and history. May I acknowledge among us the Honourable Elise Archer MP, Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Corrections, Environment and Parks and the Arts, Ella Haddad MP, Rosalie Woodruff MP, Deputy Lord Mayor Hobart Helen Burnett, Council Mayors and Deputy Mayors from across Tasmania, Auntie Brenda Hodge, Grace Tame, 2021 Tasmanian Australian of the Year and 2021 Australian of the Year, and of course Rick Goddard, our MC today. Importantly, may I acknowledge and congratulate our 16 marvellous finalists. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall be brief because a wonderful afternoon awaits us, notwithstanding the terrible weather outside. And I'm pleased to see a lot of people here despite that weather. I would like to say that past, present and indeed future Tasmanian Australians chosen in one of the 4 categories are individually and collectively inspirational role models. They all exemplify what can be done in many different ways to enrich and contribute to our community. Their contributions also inspire a sense of national pride in what is best in us. In my role as your Governor, I meet many Tasmanians and I can say confidently that our finalists here this afternoon all represent what is best in our island state. To each of you I say, your nomination is an achievement of which you can be very proud. Congratulations to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And thanks for those inspiring words. And you might want to join me back on stage as we announce the Local Hero Award. So the time has arrived for our first 2022 Australian of the Year Award, the Local Hero Award. This recognises Australians making a significant contribution in their local community. Everyday people whose selflessness is humbling, and through local community activity inspire others nationwide to do something profound where they live. And the nominees for the 2022 Tasmanian Local Hero are
Jay Chipman faced a battle with blood cancer in 2014-15, spending almost a year in hospital while raising her 2 young children. It's from that experience that she recognised the importance of quality family time and established Homely Retreats as a cancer respite service in 2018. Thanks to Homely Retreats, families with a parent undergoing cancer treatment can enjoy a complimentary weekend holiday experience to rest and reconnect. Jay aims to expand Homely Retreats nationally, while also calling on the government to offer stronger mental health and family counselling support systems for those impacted by cancer. A much-loved identity in Tasmania's Devonport, Paul Hosking has made a huge impact on thousands of lives since founding the not-for-profit venue, Hope at St Paul's Kitchen. Established in 2014, the kitchen relies on the generosity of locals, with Paul cooking hundreds of meals every week for those who drop by. He also works with schools, community groups, and people who are less fortunate. Paul is regarded in the community as one of a kind, someone who goes above and beyond, all in the name of helping others, regardless of their place in life. Tani Longalon established Free to Be Girls in 2017, a youth engagement program for females aged between 10 and 16. It provides a safe and respectful space where they can hang out and express their naturally creative selves through music, dance, crafts, and cooking. Free to Be Girls attracts almost 100 participants each week. When Kim Smith retired as a police officer in 2010, he joined the Rotary Club of Sullivan's Cove. His achievements have been legendary. Kim oversaw the formation and management of RecLink, which organises sporting activities for street youth becoming clean, and the Young Women's Program, mentoring teenage girls who were survivors of abuse and neglect. As a learner's licence road rules tutor, his ideas in teaching refugees were so successful, over 800 people have passed through the scheme. A good and decent man, Kim has improved many lives in his years of dedicated service.
As you applause, if the 4 nominees could stand up so that we can acknowledge your achievement to be here and be nominated today. Congratulations to all of you. Governor, if you would like to join me on stage to present the trophy and tell us who is the 2022 Tasmanian Local Hero.
The 2022 Local Hero for Tasmania is Kim Smith.
Great. So what happens now is that you stand there for a bit longer and get a nice photo. I mean, they're good, right? They're good, but they're not that good. That's it. And then, Kim, if you would take that podium and we'll have a quick chat, and Governor, if you could return to your seat. Thank you so much. Kim, congratulations. Woo!
Wow.
Look, I've got some questions about the work you've done teaching people to drive. It's a whole new generation of Tasmanians on the road. Have you taught them how to use a roundabout?
I was actually talking with state growth personnel yesterday on a new YouTube sort of process, looking at that to see if people that have a problem with an intersection or roundabouts or merging lanes, they can just go into state growth, tap it in, and up it comes a quick video. But there's videos online that you can see. Just go to Learn to Drive videos, Transport Tas, and it's all there.
Did you expect when you left the police force that you'd become a YouTuber?
No, not really. I don't think it was about much.
You've reached into so many diverse parts of the Tasmanian community. What have they taught you about our island and how we live?
Well, I asked, there were 14 refugees around the table after we finished the course, and I said to them, if things came okay in your country and it all went back, you could get your land back and your farms and everything, would you go back? And around the table there was a unified no. They wanted to stay in Tasmania. And they're making their life here and really loving it.
In terms of your work that you've done in the communities, what are the rewards for you?
Seeing the smile on their faces when they pass their test, when they realise that I put the road maps down, the toy cars, and they realise that they don't have to try and do it, use a computer, that they can do it with me. And those visual learners, through kinesthetic visual learning, just find it so much easier. And when you've got a person, 18 years of age, one of the last ones I took, she tried 16 or 18 times to pass the online test and couldn't. And we just sat down and at the library, we went through it, and you could just see the stress and anxiety came off her face when she realised that all she had to do was move the cars, and she was able to show me that she understood. And that was fantastic. So we've got a lot of stories like that of people who just need that extra little bit of help and support, and another way of doing a test. Not everyone learns the same way. So what we've done is made things better for them to learn different ways.
And in terms of, you've worked with refugees, you've also worked with young people. These are people often excluded from economic participation in many ways. How important is driving to that, and what other steps do we need to take?
Well, just a number of families, as soon as they can get their learners, they're on their way. And that's the part that really gets them going. And we've seen it with so many refugee families where they now all got jobs because they're able to get their licence and be able to travel, to get to work, travel to education. And now so many families that I run into that I've taken over the last 11 years that have bought their own home, got one full-time job or a number of part-time jobs, all paying the houses off and all contributing to the community. So that's what drives me, that passion that drives me when I see what they do.
Well, that's our 2022 Tasmanian local hero who will never be short of a lift if he tries hitchhiking, that's for sure. You must see so many people on the roads because of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next category is the Young Australian of the Year award category. This is young Australians aged between 16 and 30 who have accomplished great things already in all walks of life. And every time we do this sort of category, I get a bit sad about how I wasted those years, but also I feel so inspired for the future of our country with people doing things like this.
A man of Palawa and Portuguese heritage, Johnny Berry was the first Aboriginal person to represent Australia at the Mr. World competition, using his platform as a model and performer to advocate for causes close to his heart. Having experienced traumas including homelessness, domestic violence and child sexual assault himself, Johnny regularly speaks out about preventing youth suicide within Aboriginal communities. He is a founding member and youth mentor of the Ballawinnie Tasmanian Aboriginal community. He's also co-founded the Be Excellence program to provide cultural support and mentoring to high-risk Indigenous youth. Hailing from Wynyard, Palawa woman Caitlin Johnson is an inspiring youth leader. In 2021, she won the first National Real Estate Leadership Award at the Tasmanian Young Achiever Awards, while also taking out the major category, the Premier's Young Achiever of the Year Award. Caitlin is a key member of Project O, which empowers young rural women to develop new skills, connect with their communities, and use their voice to campaign for change. Also a talented singer-songwriter, Caitlin is an inspiration to many young Tasmanians, especially those in the Indigenous community. After recognising that many people experience delays and a lack of treatment options when seeking help for mental health conditions, Laura Johnson decided to act. She started a petition to improve youth mental health resources in Tasmania's northwest. The petition, sent to Parliament, highlights a mental health services crisis within the state. Laura calls for increased investment in the training of specialist mental health professionals, broader access to education, and improved facilities for treatment. Through her work and advocacy, Laura is a leading figure in improving mental health services for young people in Tasmania. Oliver Parnham is the support worker of a 20-year-old man who has xeroderma pigmentosum with neurological effects. He provides physical, social and emotional care to the client, a 24/7 job, while also supporting the client's family by managing the NDIS plan and the financial and healthcare side. Oliver seeks to improve the way disability care is implemented. In particular, he wants to increase the number of young people in disability support. He says many young people with disabilities enjoy the company of other young people, yet very few of them are in the sector.
Can I ask the two nominees who are here to stand up, and you should be able to see our other two nominees coming up on the screen, theoretically through the magic of technology. At least one, possibly two. I don't have a fold back. Let's congratulate them now. And I'd like to invite Her Excellency back to the stage and the 2021 Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year, Toby Thorpe, to join me as well, please. Please welcome the Governor and Toby. It's so nice to see you again. Could have been in Glasgow right now, but here you are. How's the year been for you? What's happened?
Yeah, well, it could have been in Glasgow right now, but the year has influenced the way that I have changed and worked this year. And the Australian of the Year Awards has really flipped that upside down. And last night I actually reflected on the year with a few friends. A year ago today I didn't expect to be on the stage, and I'm even more honoured and humbled to be on stage here today. But I did have to continually reflect on how did I end up here? Just a small town boy from the Huon. And I don't have an explanation except for the beauty of community connection and public education here in Tasmania. So the year has really changed the way that I think, the way that I act, the way that I connect with one another in my society, the way I ask the hard questions, how I think about climate change, how I think about being an ally, and also had some really crazy experiences like going to Canberra, getting lost in Parliament House and somehow ending up in the kitchen. So yeah, that's been my year.
Has having the award given you confidence to speak louder and speak more firmly?
100%. I think being a young person from a regional community, my contributions are sometimes taken for granted. And I think that's a regular thing for a lot of young people in Tasmania, is that we are underestimated, and that the legitimacy of our work is measured by how old we are. And this awards program has given me a platform to scream at the top of my lungs, like, young people have got it. And I'm so excited to see, Laura, Oliver, Caitlin and Johnny here today, because they all contribute so positively to this world. And that's the number one message I can give to each and every one of you, is yell at the top of your lungs for the rest of this year and the more years to come, because this platform gives you the ears that need to listen.
So can you now yell, like maybe just below the top of your lungs, who the 2022 Young Tasmanian Australian of the Year is, Toby?
The 2022 Young Australian of the Year for Tasmania is Caitlin Johnson.
Congratulations, Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year, Caitlin Johnson. I can see you there. That's fantastic. Where does your drive come from?
Thank you so much. I'd first like to start by saying thank you so much to Toby. Your work is so incredible. You speak on behalf of all of us, and you are a shining light for our future. So thank you. My drive comes from people like Toby Thorpe, making way. Seriously, he is shaping the future that we need. We need to be focusing on a climate positive future, and he is doing that for us. And we need to be focusing on screaming louder for young people in Tasmania, in rural areas, and for mob. We are so important to this community, and we need to be screaming louder. So it's definitely people like Toby Thorpe who are taking the first steps to a better Tasmania.
In terms of your work with Project O, can you explain what kind of community that's brought together?
Yeah, of course. So Big Heart run Project O and have been running Project O in small communities around Australia. And I think it's important to recognise that while young women already do have such an amazing potential to achieve so much in these communities, there aren't any opportunities for that to happen naturally. And so Big Heart have come in and they've brought us all together, and they've made us realise what change we can make and how we can implement that, whether that be managing events, or whether that be speaking publicly at community events that are already in place, or whether that be paving our own way to university or beyond what we see every day in Burnie or Wynyard or your rural town. It's not what you have to do. You don't have to stick to that sort of factory line of just coming out of school and doing whatever everyone else is doing. You can really pave your own way, and that's what I really want to prove to other people in my community.
As a singer-songwriter, how important is that form of storytelling to you, and what are you wanting to convey and connect with?
Songwriting has been such a big part of my life, and for that reason, I find myself writing about things that are so important to me, and I want to share them on a larger platform. I want to scream, like Toby said, all of my feelings and thoughts about how important it is to stand up for mob and to explain to people what I'm feeling as a young Indigenous woman in Tasmania, in such a white community where we need to spread more awareness that we are here and we are strong and we are proud and we deserve to be heard. And I think that is going to be one of my big aims through my songwriting, but also through my advocacy work. And I'm so sorry about the vacuum if you can hear that in the back. Through advocacy work and through songwriting and storytelling. And Johnny does that so well in his work as well. And I'd love to recognise him for that work. And I'd love to recognise Laura, who is another incredible young person who's doing some amazing work, and I've known her for years. And also Oliver, I have not had the chance to meet you, but I cannot wait because I'm so inspired by what you're doing. The cause is so close to my heart, and I'm so proud of all of you.
Who are the people in your life who you've drawn inspiration from and draw strength from?
For me, my grandparents have been there through the hardest times, and I think that it's so important for everyone to just hold on to one support system that really believes in them. Not only my grandparents, but my strongest and most amazing teachers at school. My favourite teachers are those who believe wholeheartedly in you, and they have seriously gotten me to where I am today because I tried my very best to get to where I wanted to be, but I couldn't have done it without them. And my key message here today is I just hope that there's one student in Wynyard listening to this because I know the feeling of facing an adverse situation. I know the feeling of going home and not having any hot water because we literally can't afford to have hot water on. I know the feeling of only seeing 3 people at my high school end up going to university. And I just want to prove to those students that it is not out of reach to go to a university on the mainland, and it is not out of reach to do something that has never been done before in your community. And my key message is to hold on to those support systems that you speak of, like your teachers and grandparents and people like Johnny, Oliver and Laura, and seriously believe in yourself, because anything is possible.
Caitlin, finally, you've got this platform this year. Everyone hears you. Everyone goes, oh, right, no, you're completely right. We should do that. What is the future for Tasmania in terms of Indigenous people and our relationship with colonisation and truth-telling? What do you think needs to happen for us to have a bright and rich future?
I think it needs to come from a lot of different areas, but as you know, there are issues embedded in the structural systems of Tasmania, in particular, obviously still all over Australia, but in Tasmania it is such a white community, to put it bluntly. It's just quite ignorant and not understanding of who is in the community and how much power it holds. And I can't blame any one entity, but the public education system has been great, but they have more work to do in implementing that stronger into the curriculum and to making sure that students are being taught what happened in our past, and so that they can understand what it's like, or not what it's like, it's hard to understand, but like to see where we need to go from here to be listening properly to mob and to be implementing a more supportive and progressive framework to Indigenous people in Tasmania and across the country.
I look forward to watching you make that happen as the 2022 Tasmanian Young Australian of the Year. Caitlin Johnson, congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to our Senior Australian of the Year award category.
Well done, congratulations.
Our third award category this evening, celebrating the ongoing achievements of Australians aged 65 years, and it's barely senior anymore, is it really, who continue to challenge themselves and inspire others. Without people like you, many things would not look the way they do today, and our community would be less rich than it is moment by moment. Your sacrifice, determination and courage shape generations and will leave a lasting imprint for years to come.
Michael Barringer has more than left his mark on the Tasmanian town of Georgetown. For almost 4 decades, he's been a paramedic with Ambulance Tasmania. Throughout his career, Michael has delivered around 30 babies, 3 of whom were born in one 48-hour period. He has also contributed to his Georgetown community through Rotary, Apex, the Tasmanian State Emergency Service and Georgetown RSL. As a result of his contributions, it would be hard to find anyone in Georgetown who hasn't had their life positively impacted by Michael in some way. Bruce French was living in Papua New Guinea in the 1970s when he noticed many villagers suffering from disease and malnutrition. He went on a mission to document edible plants of the region. Bruce went on to document edible plant species from all over the world. In 1999, he founded Food Plants International. More than 33,500 species of edible plants are now documented on its website. Bruce's work is making a practical difference in improving food security, nutrition, and health outcomes for people in developing countries. Margaret Hoban has single-handedly raised the profile of community music in Launceston, thanks to her enthusiasm and high-calibre teaching expertise. Margaret moved to Australia from the US in the early 1970s as part of the Victorian Teacher Selection Program to fill shortfalls of qualified teachers. After being accepted and settling in the country, she never left. Margaret has always fought hard against elitism in music. She exemplifies her belief in the benefits of music for all by always helping people strive to be their absolute best. At age 84, Reverend Josephine Pycroft works as an Anglican priest for the rural communities surrounding Quamby Parish in Tasmania's north. She works with the 3 historical churches of Westbury, Hagley and Carrick, and still ministers weddings, baptisms and funerals. During the COVID-19 lockdown, Jo harnessed modern technology and did her weekly Sunday communion service with sermons using her iPhone, keeping her congregation connected. Before moving to Tasmania, Jo was one of the first ordained women in the Anglican Church and the first female precentor in the world, looking after the Anglican Cathedral in Brisbane.
I can ask our nominees to stand if you're able, and we can acknowledge your work and congratulate you. Please stand up. We've got all 4 here. And take a seat again as I invite Her Excellency and also the 2021 Senior Australian of the Year, Brian Williams, to join me on stage. Thank you. You can give Brian a clap. And ask you, Brian, if you can give the incoming Senior Australian of the Year a few words of advice based on your experience.
An absolutely amazing year, it really has. I mean, I was nominated for service to scouting both locally, nationally and internationally. So I've got a lot of people that I have met over the years. But after this occasion last year, by the time the media got hold of it, and my daughter went ballistic on Facebook, the messages, the emails, the text messages, the phone calls, even letters and cards were absolutely astounding. I was very, very surprised to get a Facebook message from one of my scouts who I'd had in the UK over 50 years ago. I hadn't heard or seen him in that 50 years, and he found out about it and sent me a message. Mind-blowing. I didn't realise how powerful Facebook was. The next big thing, of course, was Canberra, and that was a real experience. Okay, we got to meet with His Excellency David Hurley and his wife Linda, and then to Parliament House where we met the Prime Minister and his wife, and that was great. But the best part of those 4 days was meeting the other 32 people from all around Australia, finding out what they had done and their experiences. I was quite humbled to be in their presence. It was great, you know, and the amount of work that is being done by these people throughout the whole country was quite astounding, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, that was on television. The ceremony prior to Australia Day was on television. Of course, that prompted people from interstate who didn't know anything about me getting that award, so there was another influx of emails and telephone calls. Scouts Tasmania was inundated with people wanting my contact details, so I got to catch up with loads of people I haven't seen for many, many years, and it has been great.
So the advice is get a letter opener. Can you please tell us who is the 2022 Tasmanian Senior Australian of the Year?
Drum roll. The 2022 Senior Australian of the Year for Tasmania is Dr. Bruce French.
We need a bit of music here, don't we? Like for the students who designed the awards also designed all the backing music on the DVDs. But here, I think like da 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 da. Bruce French. Da 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 da. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Do you want me to stay here?
I'm going to chat to you. Come here. Yeah. No, I can't believe, like, when I saw your name, because I see this early, I was like, hasn't he won this already? And I remember the first time I interviewed you, and I couldn't believe the work that you were doing and your desire to feed the world. How close are we?
I'm very close to having every edible plant in every country in the world carefully documented back in plain English that everybody can understand, illustrated with photographs. 33,500 edible plants in the world. So if you live in the desert, you grow a desert plant. If you live in a swamp, you grow a swamp plant. If you live in a coral atoll, you grow a coral atoll plant. It makes sense. God must have known what he was doing when he set this system up. And so it's pretty amazing for me.
How many years has this been now?
Only 55. So.
And you're quite close to finishing. What do you do next?
You've got to find out how to cook it, make it taste nice. Still chasing food values for lots and lots of plants. My daughter's done all the nutrition stuff, but we're still chasing lots of information. So it'll take me another 55 years at least.
Yeah, so there's a cookbook in it. That's where the money is, right? ABC know that. In terms of some of the people that you've met in this, 55 years of collecting, who's inspired you that you've worked with?
The ones that inspire me most are the women. Most food on planet Earth is grown by women, if you don't know how food's grown. And I spend hours and hours and hours in markets talking to the ladies. What is it? How do you grow it? Won't it kill me? And then I say, I'm writing it down. I'll take photographs. I won't make a cent out of it. I'll send it back to your country so the people in your kids in your school will know the information that's in your head. So they're the ones who inspire me most. There's lots of fancy, famous scientists I met around the world, but it's the people in the villages that excite me most.
How many countries has this taken you to?
I lost count. Somewhere between 35 and 40. So mostly the poor tropical countries, and it's been lovely fun.
And in the time of those recipes that you've collected, have any become family staples? Or so you just cook, like have those recipes become ones that you cook and make? Or when you're in Tasmania, do you only cook Tasmanian food?
Well, in Tasmania, I don't have much choice. You can't get durians into the country and lovely smelling ones like that. So, but when I can't cook very well, but when I do a stir-fried, I would average 15 different vegetables in the stir-fried to practice what I preach. You go for diversity and then you have a healthy, balanced diet, narrow it down and you die from obesity. So it's, that's the world's biggest killer in malnutrition is over-processed food. So let's go back. All the ones who aren't having make money, biodiversity and dozens of others I could mention that I keep in touch with, say we have to go back for a wide range of local foods. Local foods suit local places. They suit the climate. They suit, you don't have to prop them up with technology, and they're packed full of nutrients. The nutritionists in the world are just getting blown away with how nutritious for everything you need. I hope you've got your zinc tablets for coronavirus and all the other things. So.
With the Senior Australian of the Year award and being able to take your message a little bit further, like how would you like to see the world changed in 1 year so that we're eating better?
I just want to get it out to the rural poor. The people in our world could find out if they wanted to. They don't want to know, but it's people in the majority world, where most people in the world live. So we can get it on the internet if there's power and electricity, which millions don't have. And so we're trying to... We put it all on our website, Food Plants International. You can download it free. I say, please do me a favour, share it with anyone you know in the world so they can have the information.
So you can do that today. That website again?
Food Plants International.
There you go. Get it, share it, do it, and you might find something amazing there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The 2022 Senior Australian of the Year. Well, we're hearing lots about speaking out, and someone who really took that on was our 2021 Australian of the Year, Grace Tame, who went on to, of course, become the National 2021 Australian of the Year, and hasn't the government just loved that? She's going to share some of her experience now as she gets prepared to hand that baton and that responsibility over. So please make her welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the 2021 Australian of the Year, Grace Tame.
Yeah, I reckon Scott's really looking forward to January. Before I begin, I too would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on land traditionally owned by the Muwinina people. I pay respect to those who have passed before us and recognise today's Tasmanian Aboriginal people as continuing custodians. Sovereignty was never ceded, and there are voices yet to be heard. I am eternally grateful that I have the opportunity, the gift, to use mine. I'd also like to thank the Tasmanian Australian of the Year team, notably Chloe and Jordan, and also give shout-outs to my partner Max, my rock, and of course Edna, Toby and Brian, my fellow Tassies of the Year for 2021. Well, what a wild 12 months these have been for all of us. We are so fortunate here on this beautiful island to have not had any lockdowns until, of course, 2 weeks ago, when somebody had to leave their hotel quarantine to perform a vital community service. We all know who won't be the 2022 Australian of the Year. Jokes aside, so much has happened. We've seen a national reckoning, which can be traced back to a law reform campaign that started right here in our home state. The seismic shift in our collective attitudes towards survivors of child sexual abuse and sexual assault is only gaining more momentum with each day. People are speaking out for the first time in their lives about their experiences. They're reconnecting with the community, educating others with their lived experience, and leading permanent change in order to prevent and ultimately put a stop to injustice. It has been a great honour and a privilege to witness and be a part of that. I can't tell you exactly what your year of Tasmanian of the Year is going to look like. Each of you has a unique purpose, a unique core. That is ultimately what drives you in what you do. You can certainly expect a little less sleep and a lot more work, but nothing can change who you are. The reason each of you is here today is because you believe in what you do, and more importantly, why you do it. That is what defines you. It's not something that can be given or taken away. For you, this award might be one of many accolades you've already received, or it might be the start of a totally unplanned journey that you didn't see coming. Either way, it's yours, unconditionally. It is not an obligation to perform, nor to conform. Make the most of it, or make the least of it. Make it whatever you want it to be. If you're finding yourself feeling like everything's against you, including the media, remember what got you here in the first place, where you came from. And if you do make it to Canberra, try to enjoy a rare moment where Tasmania is not the butt of the joke, because Canberra it's Canberra. We're all heroes in our own way. Never forget that. And that's enough from me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, 2021 Australian of the Year, Grace Tame, which brings us to our final award category, the 2022 Tasmanian Australian of the Year Award. This award category celebrates the achievements and contributions of eminent Australians who are role models for us all, trailblazers who don't wait to be asked, they see a need, they share their talent, and doing so inspire all of us. So let's take a closer look at our nominees for the 2022 Tasmanian Australian of the Year.
10 years ago, Joanne Cook established the Tasmanian Recovery from Eating Disorders Foundation, TREAD, to support young Tasmanian men and women with eating disorders and their families. With around 1 million Australians estimated to have an eating disorder, Joanne's fundraising efforts, consulting work and group sessions have positively impacted many lives. In 2017, TREAD merged with the Butterfly Foundation to have an even greater impact. Joanne's work has created a more capable and informed network of support for EDs in Tasmania, promoting recovery and saving lives. A Trawalway woman of Debrokuna country, Dr. Emma Lee is a key architect of Reset the Relationship, a Tasmanian government strategy focused on the themes of recognition, reconciliation and real outcomes for Aboriginal communities in Tasmania. An academic at Swinburne University of Technology, Emma's research over the past 25 years has focused on Indigenous affairs, land and sea management and policy and governance of Australian regulatory environments. Emma is currently a sitting member of the Australian Government's National Co-Design Group. She works to develop models so that Indigenous voices can be heard in Parliament. Craig Leeson is an award-winning filmmaker and journalist. He is the CEO of Leeson Media International and Ocean Vista Films and founder of the I Shot Hong Kong Film Festival. Craig's first feature-length documentary, A Plastic Ocean, helped launch global impetus for change to save our oceans from plastic pollution. His latest film, The Last Glaciers, which comes out in March 2022, looks at the impact of global climate change. Craig co-founded a Plastic Oceans Foundation and advises to Plastic Oceans International, a charity dedicated to ending humanity's single-use plastic addiction within a generation. Marine biologist Professor Greta Petzel has provided a solution to a global problem in the fight against climate change, finding a way to collect enough data despite the vastness of the oceans. After enlisting the help of thousands of recreational fishers, scuba divers, boaters and naturalists, she founded RedMap, a platform they could use to report species outside of their normal geographic distribution. For her work and research, Greta has been recognised on the Reuters Hot List of 1,000 most influential climate scientists, ranking in the top 20 women scientists worldwide.
That's our nominees. Please stand so we can congratulate you all. I think Craig's joining us on the screen as well any minute now from Glasgow. There he is. Hi Craig, congratulations. Fantastic stuff. Governor, if you would like to join me again on stage, please, for the announcement of the 2022 Australian of the Year, which will be done with Grace, who's going to be opening the envelope in our Logie style. So glamorous. It's so exciting. And I think we will hit a table-based drum roll for this one, ladies and gentlemen, to bring the full drama, so get your hands ready. Grace, can you please tell us who is the 2022 Tasmanian Australian of the Year?
It is Craig Leeson.
I don't know if you can see, but there's people in tears here, waving, jumping up and down. Is that Mum? Is this Mum here? Yeah. She's crying. This should be good for the film in March 2022.
Actually, but it'll certainly help create the awareness around the launch of the film, which is something I think that's very valuable to the issue that the film covers.
Sorry, your mum's just still crying right now. It's so beautiful because it reminds me of my mum, which is what she'd be doing. You're in Glasgow now. I mean, you're at COP26. What is the atmosphere like and what are you experiencing there?
Correct. It's 4:30 for 5 o'clock in the morning here. I've got 4 hours before I head into post-production and finish the final touches of the film, which happens today. And then we output the film and we're screening it in a special private screening to leaders all around the world on the 8th of November. The conference starts on Monday, and of course, the whole world is hoping and praying that our political leaders provide a blueprint and a pathway out of this climate crisis. So there's great expectations here. It's a very important COP26. Many people are gathering already, and they are wishing and hoping and praying that we have a proper pathway that will lead to solutions to the crisis.
Craig, what's your mix of hope and what's your mix of anger?
Well, firstly, I'm very thankful for the award. I have very deep footprints to follow. My parents have both have the Order of Australia medal, so I've been to their award ceremonies. So I'm so glad that they could come to one that I'm a part of. So thanks to Alan and Margaret, my parents, for being there. My hope is that we recognise that the life support systems on planet Earth are in deep trouble. I've witnessed this firsthand in the 8 years that it took to make A Plastic Ocean, the film, and the 4 years that we filmed in 21 countries. I've seen animals in distress dying. I've seen the disease that is single-use plastics coating the earth. And I've seen that as well with the climate change, as I've climbed mountains all over the world and watched glaciers disappearing, these huge water storage devices that we rely on for 33% of our drinking water, and also to reflect heat back into the atmosphere and away from the earth. So we are in deep trouble. Scientists tell me we've got about 8 to 10 years to turn this around. And if we don't, then the life support systems that I was talking about earlier will start to cascade in a collapse. And we're seeing that happen already. We're seeing our oceans are very despoiled. We're seeing our food chain being compromised. We're seeing the single-use plastics issue creating problems for not only animals but humans. And of course, the climate crisis now is something that is very immediate and very real. And when we unbalance the planet like this, then we get things like pandemics. And this pandemic that we're seeing now is a result of the imbalance that we've created. And if we don't sort these problems out, we will see more bacteria and viruses and more pandemics in the future. So my hope is, and my legacy that I wish to leave, is for a clean, bright future for the next generation. And by creating awareness through the films, that's what I hope to achieve.
We're aware at COP26 there are some pretty fancy billboards about Australia up in the city of Glasgow. As an Australian in the city, how are you being received?
Well, it's not just here, it's everywhere. I am asked constantly on a daily basis, what is Australia doing? Why isn't Australia committing to this problem? I had a meeting with CEOs of Malaysian top CEOs from BMW, from some of the petroleum companies, and they were asking me last week, why is Australia not joining the rest of the world in this? So you, as an Australian and even a Tasmanian, you feel this burden. People ask you questions. They ask me what happened to the lucky country. And as I grew up, it very much was considered the lucky country. And everywhere I went, people asked me, what was Australia like? And I said, well, Australia is great, but Tasmania is even better. And I've been this, I guess, unofficial ambassador for Tasmania for all my life. And I always encourage people to visit Tasmania, because I'm asked, out of all of my travels, where's the most beautiful place I've ever seen? And I always say Tasmania, and it's very true. And so we need to protect that environment for future generations. So I hope that we can turn the corner as a country. That's something that I want to be part of, to find the solutions and to get everybody to the table, corporate leaders, political leaders, the next generation particularly. We designed our way into this problem through the combustion engine, through single-use plastics. These are design faults. So we can design our way out of this, and we need to encourage young entrepreneurs, young people to be able to do that. And that means my generation has to provide the tools for young people in order for them to do that. So I'm very optimistic because I talk to young people all around the world in my travels, and I speak with them at schools, I speak with them at their workplace, and they tell me that they've got this, they're capable, but they want us to give them the tools. So we've got a very important job, and I think awards like this cast very good light on these problems and provide all of us and all of the people who are nominees here are doing just that. And none of us stand up to be nominated for awards like this, and we all feel deeply about the issues that we work towards. And it's nice to have the awards like this, and I thank the Australian of the Year Award Committee and the people that work there for providing all of us with a platform to share our issues and to help us get the message out there.
And I'm sure, Craig, it's exactly people like you that they had in mind when they announced the Australian way of getting to net zero by 2050. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm completely honoured. Thank you so much.
And I'm sure in Canberra they'll be thrilled at that choice in Tasmania yet again. Don't you think, Governor Grace? Thank you so much. Thank you very much. To all of our nominees today, congratulations. Someone in your community believed in you, thought you were amazing. I mean, more than one person really, but they nominated you, and that's what's important for these awards. So well done. Let's congratulate all of our nominees again. Today's awards wouldn't be possible without our national partners, and let's acknowledge them now who make this awards program possible. We couldn't do any of it without your support. Our national diversity and inclusion partner Chevron, who help inspire and foster unity and celebrate the diversity of people of all ages and backgrounds. The Australian of the Year category partner Australia Post, committed to connecting people and communities across the country and supporting recipients in the delivery of their message nationwide. The Department of Health is our category partner for the Senior Australian of the Year Award, and the Department of Education, Skills and Employment is the Young Australian of the Year category partner, and the Department of Home Affairs supports the Local Hero Award category partner. And here's a brief message from them.
Ingenuity,
creativity, and innovation,
passion,
purpose, and the pursuit of excellence,
mateship,
inclusion,
and the idea of a fair go.
At Chevron, we call it human energy.
That's why we support the Australian of the Year Awards.
As the National Diversity and Inclusion Partner,
celebrating the achievement
of outstanding Aussies
from every corner of our great country
and from every walk of life.
Because we're all part of the story.
For over 200 years, Australia Post has been at the heart of Australian communities, connecting them to each other and the world. We're thrilled to recognise the incredible Australian of the Year award recipients who make such a profound contribution to their communities and to our nation. We're proud to support the Australian of the Year Award and join you in celebrating these inspiring Australians.
This award is given to people from all walks of life who have dedicated their lives to making a difference, be it through education, science, advocacy, sport, and many other fields of endeavour for their fellow Australians and the community. It celebrates commitment, it celebrates facing adversity and staying the course. It celebrates lifelong learning and giving. It speaks to the wealth of experience and wisdom senior Australians bring to our nation, recognising the drive and commitment of those who continue to achieve and contribute, inspiring all generations. I congratulate all nominees and thank them for their contribution to furthering our nation.
As the Federal Education and Youth Minister, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate and recognise all of the nominees for the Young Australian of the Year award for this year. Each of you have been recognised by your state and territory government for making an absolutely outstanding contribution to your state or territory, and I want to thank you for that. You are a great ambassador and great role model for so many others, and I wish you well in the overall finals, which of course will be announced on Australia Day in the not too distant future. All the very best.
Australia's Local Hero Award recognises everyday Australians who have seen an opportunity to make their community a better place. Through their extraordinary commitment and selfless efforts, these local heroes have made a real and enduring difference. Congratulations to all of the finalists in the Australia Local Hero Awards. You are an inspiration to all of us.
Inspire millions of Australians by telling the stories of extraordinary state and territory recipients. Our alumni partner is the International Day of People with a Disability, which is December the 3rd each year, challenging the way we think about disability to grow a more inclusive Australia. I'd like to also thank our national accommodation partner, Crown Plaza. We appreciate their warm hospitality for travelling nominees and recipients, especially in January. And also our cultural partner, the Australian National University, who through its schools of art and music design and produce the trophies and compose and perform the music at the event. Our exhibition partner is the National Museum of Australia, who delivers the Australian of the Year exhibition in Canberra annually and then takes that right round the country. And last but not least, the continued support of our legal partner, Minter Ellison, who mop up if I say anything wrong. Please join me in thanking our national partners for their vital ongoing support. Congratulations once more to all of our recipients. We would like to take some photos of you with you and Her Excellency the Governor, so please don't go too far. We'll do that immediately. The rest of us straight out to the drinks and the food, and please stay and enjoy the wonderful hospitality here. I wish you all success in your future endeavours, and to our recipients we wish you the absolute best on the national stage on January the 25th, 2 years in a row. We can do it. Come on, Tasmania. Which brings us to the end of our formal proceedings, so please come, not to the courtyard, but out the front here and enjoy some refreshments, chat, speak to people you haven't spoken to, and share your appreciation of the work that they've done. Don't forget you can nominate now for the 2023 Australian of the Year Awards. Whoever was missed today that you were thinking they should be here, nominate them now while you remember at australianoftheyear.org.au. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention and celebratory applause. You got everyone on stage without an awkward gap. Have a lovely afternoon. Let's give one more round of applause to our nominees and recipients. If you could please stand now for the official departure of Her Excellency and have